Hello, welcome to Tov Jewish News Channel. With me today co-hosting Michael. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Gil. My name is Michael Vilinsky. I'm also a co-host here.
So I will start with a small story. When my father was young, when he was a boy, my grandfather used to take him to Gaza beach to go to the market, to travel, and it was open borders. Today, the amount of Hebrew speakers in Gaza has decreased significantly, and I think in the 60s there were 12 mosques. Today there are over 200. The Gaza Strip has radicalized significantly against Israel, against the Hebrew nation. What happened, and is it reversible? What do you think?
Well, so first and foremost, I think we should understand what kind of processes underwent in Gaza. On the first hand, until 2006, Gaza was under control of other Palestinian parties, like the Palestinian Liberation Front, the thing that we call Fatah here in Israel, which is a nationalist but a secular party, right? When you have an entity, population, which doesn't have religious values that kind of guide it, you can easily change them, and you can easily make a person more friendly to another group because their values are more flexible. But in 2006, you have Hamas, which is, as we all know, a branch of the Muslim Brotherhood that took over in Gaza. And the leading principle of the Muslim Brotherhood, that's how you should really understand how they function, is what they call dawah. Dawah is spreading their message of Islam. And usually they don't work in violent ways. Sometimes they do towards other Muslims, but that's usually not the case. And they basically brainwash Muslims, making them more religious and making the society more religious. And this is exactly what you were talking about. This is why in Gaza you have 12 mosques and now we have over 200.
Yeah, but again, brainwash, I understand on their side why they are trying to push the population to a certain place, but they were very receptive. This population took the brainwash with two hands and doubled down, and they radicalized so much to a crazy degree, to a monster level degree. And yeah, and I'm just wondering, how did it happen under our noses, so close to us for so long? And I just want to throw another topic into the mix. We have this Hamas nation that grew under our nose in Gaza, and it was very comfortable. And not only for Israeli right parties or left parties, it's not even a partisan issue. Both were very satisfied with the quiet and just Hamas taking over Gaza, and we don't need to negotiate because their agenda is to destroy Israel, so how can you negotiate with something like that? So it was very convenient. And then we got addicted to this quiet, to this silence. And I think this is something interesting that we need to think about, because we already have it in other areas near us as well, such as Egypt, such as Lebanon, such as Jordan. And I'm just wondering if Israel is noticing, because obviously this one we didn't notice.
Well, I think the reason both things you mentioned happened is the same one. Is the fact that we ignored the nature of Islam. Islam is a militant religion, as we all know. And when Hamas took over Gaza, it was very easy for Israel to think that, come on, nothing will really happen, because we did not want to think about the possibilities of what will happen if Hamas takes over. But Hamas, as we said, is an Islamist terrorist organization, and their main goal is to spread Islam, correct? And if you ignore that, sooner or later you'll face what Israel faced on the 7th of October when we were massacred by Muslim extremists such as Hamas. Egypt and Jordan, I would not be entirely, well, I wouldn't think that they're such a big danger such as Hamas, because these countries are not guided by Islam, although they're Islamic countries. It's not at the core of their ideology, but I still see them as a danger.
Yeah, I mean, I find it a bit too easy to escape to the explanation of Islam is a militant religion, and therefore where it happens there are going to be militant terrorists, because we have examples that show otherwise. For example, the United Arab Emirates, where there are by definition Islamic nations, and still they are peaceful, and they have ties, very strong ones, economically and even security, with Israel. So I'm not sure this is the entire answer, but that's my point. And the second thing I would like to say is that in Israel we are so happy to not think about Gaza that I've seen estimations of how many people currently live in Gaza moving from 1.2 million to 2.5 million. I find it ridiculous. Israel has no clue what's going on in Gaza. How many people? It's a very basic question. And on top of that, maybe you know, and I would love if you could share your knowledge with us, it's what's the rate of people, of net people in Gaza? How many go out? How many are born? Where is it going? What's the trend?
Well, first I want to address your first point about the Arab Emirates. And it's not although the religion of the Arab Emirates is Islam, right? It's not a branch of the Muslim Brotherhood the way Hamas is.
Yes.
The Muslim Brotherhood, their goal is to spread Islam. Arab Emirates are a country. You see the difference? They're based on, as Professor Mordechai Kedar, one of the main experts on the Middle East in Israel, says, that he says that it's based on already well-established tribes. So their goal, although they're Muslim, and I feel that they enjoy seeing people and countries turn Muslim, that's not their main goal. They first of all want to survive, they want to thrive as a country. They're also rich, so that kind of mitigates and minimizes the effect of the negative effect of Islam. So it's kind of a different case from Hamas in Gaza. Now about the population of Gaza, right? So as you just said, no one really knows how much people live there. We hear people in Israel say that Hamas is lying. There are no 2 million people living in Gaza, and that's really what you see. That's really what you see. You see many videos coming out of Gaza right now when Israel entered it, and you see huge spaces clean from people. There are no people there. You have fields, you have agricultural areas. If you would really have 2 million people, I don't think it would look that way. It will be one country that looks like Singapore. You have skyscrapers and people living in meter by meter apartments, and you don't really see that. So I think it's an exaggeration made for clearly political purposes by Hamas, and we understand why they do it, because they want to kind of make it harder for Israel to take care of the Gaza Strip in the eyes of the international community, because now everyone will come up to Israel and say, hey, how will you take care of Gaza if you have 2 million people living there?
I have another point that I would like for you to refer to. So one of the main reasons why Israel did not annex Gaza back in the day when we conquered it is because we were afraid to lose the Jewish majority inside Israel. Because we did annex Arabs in general, just not the Gaza Strip. And the number of Gazans that live there is very important to answer different political questions, such as what to do with the population. And I wonder, and I don't know the answer, but I wonder if Hamas is lying and exaggerating the number so they know it would stop us from annexing Gaza, because they say, well, we have 2.5, do you really want them? And then Israel is like, oh, actually we don't, and this is it. This is how they don't need to fire a bullet, and they keep themselves safe from being conquered.
Well, I feel that the trick of exaggerating your numbers is a trick that dates back millions of, not millions of years, because we weren't Homo sapiens millions of years ago, but at least like, hundreds of thousands of years. Throughout history, what generals did is spread out their soldiers in a very thin line to make an impression on their enemy that was standing in front of them that they're way more than they actually are. And this tactic is reused by Hamas, but not on the same kind of stage, because we're not in a real battlefield as we used to be in the ancient and the Middle Ages, right? But more politically, more in abstract terms. And you're exactly correct that this is what Hamas is doing. I feel it's another reason for doing that and exaggerating their numbers, is to make it harder for Israel to take the decision to annex Gaza. But really every sane person understands that there is no other way. I really feel that there is no other way because it's the hardest the decision to take.
So you think that
deradicalizing?
Deradicalizing, thank you, Gaza Strip, do you think it's possible? And if it is, how would you go and do it?
Well, first of all, we have to look at history, right? I feel that deradicalizing is a very hard thing to do. And also, I think it will be one-in-a-time situation, because the last deradicalization efforts took place in Nazi Germany, in fascist Italy, and in Imperial Japan after the Second World War. And it really wasn't the same thing, because Nazism, fascism, and the Japanese imperialism is a political ideology and not a religious one. A religious ideology is way deeper. It's on the level of values. I would even say in your subconscious on some level. So kind of cleaning that out, I feel it will be much more difficult. And we have to really, if I would be the one taking the decisions, I would even take psychologists and people who really understand the way the human brain works, sit them down and tell them, guys, we have...
This is the mission.
Right. We have 1 million, 2 million. I want to...
Who knows?
Re-enter that area again,
Yeah.
But we really have to build a plan to work with those people. What do you think?
No, yeah, to be honest, I'm going to be super honest. I'm clueless. I have no idea. I'm not sure that radical Islam or the Islamic Brotherhood, I think it's also a bit political and not only a religion. And they have goals and political goals, and they have political structures and bodies they work through. So I think they're very calculated, and I'm not sure what the honestly, I don't know what the difference is between Nazism and the Islamic Brotherhood in terms of not in terms of the ideology per se, in terms of how it works and which areas of the brain it uses and values, and because I think Nazism is also in some aspects a religion, and in some aspects it's not, but I'm not an expert, so I wouldn't go into that. De-radicalizing, I see today's issues in Europe with Muslims, and there are issues that are very obvious and very different than other populations that did go to Europe and became European, and the Islamic population, it's a different story for some reason. And the last question I would like to raise is that there are different ways to look at the ruling powers in Gaza. You can look at the clans, you can look at religious head of religious sheikhs, you can look at whatever is left of the Palestinian Authority. And you can also come up with outside-the-box solutions, such as bringing Arabs or any other foreign powers from abroad into Gaza. How would you, even if you do the radicalization and control the education system, who would you put it under? How would you do that? Or maybe Israel, but...
I see. I think there is no other way from escaping the fact that only Israel can do it in a way that will be good for Israel. No other country in the world is really interested in Israel's good more than Israel. Mm-hmm. Many people now propose to put, the United Arab Emirates into power in Gaza and let them rule. First of all, why would they do that? It's like
yeah.
I would come up to you, Gil, and say, Gil, do you want to be president of Afghanistan or of Somalia? I think you would be like, no, I'm good here, man. Same thing with the Gaza Strip and the Arab Emirates. And also, even if they would accept for some esoteric reason, let's just understand that Israel has their interest in the Gaza Strip, right? The United Arab Emirates will have their own interest in the Gaza Strip. So the next thing that you will see is the clash between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. And it's the quickest way to destroy our relations with the United Arab Emirates. Or at least that's the way I see it.
Yeah, the risk is very clear and the upside for them is not very clear. So, yeah, it's, I guess that you are correct that Israel has to take matters into his own hands and somehow deal with the
de-radicalizing
the Strip. Thank you very much. And thank you for the viewers for being with us. Tov Jewish News Channel. Thank you very much.